Good afternoon and welcome to Libertarian Counterpoint Podcast. We're coming at you on October 2nd, 2020. Lots going on in the country right now, still a lot of COVID stuff. We're coming up on an election as well that's just right around the corner now from us. But before we jump into any of that, I want to introduce you to our panel. On our upper left-hand corner, we have Leon the Word Brathwaite, last word in Liberty. And he is a retired engineer from the state of California. Up in our right-hand corner, we have our screaming eagle of freedom, Tim Everett, who is a pilot in the state of California. And my name is Jason McPhee, and I'll be your host today. Also, too, if you have any comments or questions, you feel free to send them to our email at counterpoint@libertariancounterpoint.com. That'll probably come scrolling across the screen soon. If you have any comments on the show or anything related to shutdowns on riots or COVID, or if your business was impacted, we'd love to hear about that, and we might interview you on the show in the future if you're interested. Anyways, let's jump right into the topics now. The news of the day, we just heard last night, hot off the presses, President Trump has tested positive for COVID. It's funny, I was putting together the topics, and as everything with 2020, every day is a new day in the news cycle.
Yes,
It's amazing, how fast the news moves. But apparently, they had, I think, one of the assistants to, I think, Melania or something, had tested positive a few days ago, and she had been around them, and now both President and Melania Trump have tested positive with COVID. All kinds of implications going right into the election on this, and also will impact his style of campaigning as well, as he likes to get out there with the crowds. You guys want to jump in on this?
Well, I mean, obviously, you first of all, you pray for a speedy recovery for the president and the first lady. But the other people are also showing positive too. Ronna McDaniels, who is the head of the RNC, who apparently came into contact with one of them, also have tested positive already. She's the head of the RNC. And it does change a lot of things in terms of the elections. Obviously, Trump can't get out on the campaign trail because he has to go into quarantine for at least 14 days or whatever. And we only have about 32 days or so to the election. So it's a really difficult situation. I'm assuming they will have to go remote. It probably puts Trump at a little bit of a disadvantage going into the elections. And if you believe the polls, he's running from behind. But it is what it is. I don't know what else he can do given the situation.
I think we should have good wishes and hopes and prayers for the president's recovery and everyone that has COVID, actually.
Yeah.
Along with them. Unfortunately, I think there are some that I've seen that seem to cheer on this whole thing about him getting COVID as if he deserves it for not wearing masks often enough or something.
Good point. Yes.
And not really knowing how he actually contacted the disease. So I think there are plenty of people that really harbor such hatred for the man, which I feel is very pitiful and dangerous to allow yourself to have that level of hatred for one other human being. I mean, okay. I'm not a big fan, that's for sure, and everyone knows it. But I just don't. I try not to. I mean, sometimes some people that really deserve it, kind of get under my skin. But I try not to allow that kind of negativity to enter my heart and soul. It's just not good, And so that's the only thing I caution people to let themselves get that much dislike of someone that they get to the point where they wish them dead or that bad things happen to them and that kind of thing, which I think unfortunately is happening all too often. today in this environment that
Yeah,
we're all
Tim,
stuck in.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Tim, you raised such a very good point about that. I mean, this is one thing to disagree with Donald Trump, okay? I disagree with him on a lot of things. I mean, Jason knew about my disagreement from the many lunches we had before Trump became president. I disagree with him. I didn't even vote for him the last time, okay? But that is just a disagreement. I don't hate Trump as a human being. I disagree with him sometimes. But there are people out there, and I've seen, I mean, even there are people who I in contact with, sending me all sorts of things about this is karma for Donald Trump because he had these poor COVID policies, blah, blah, blah. Just like you say, like if he deserves it, and his wife deserves it too, I guess, and all the people around, they also deserve it, just because they hate Donald Trump. Yeah. I don't hate the man. I disagree with him, but I don't hate the man. And people, but these sort of things that we're living with in 2020, is really ripping us apart and destroying this great country. It really is.
Well, maybe this can be a moment of potentially an upbeat moment of civility. I mean, it seems like we've had incivility for about the last 4 years at least. I think when Trump took office, I mean, there were literally the staging plays of him being in Julius Caesar's role, being stabbed to death, in front of the plane.
Yeah.
And you had some celebrities holding a decapitated head of Trump and other things like that. So we have been in just a crazy uncivil mess over the last 4 years. And maybe this is something that might bring some of the benefits out. Hopefully, it's hard to say. Certainly, there's a lot of people with derangement going on, and one other point I wanted to make as well too. You mentioned the 14 days quarantine. So I think what I heard this morning is that it's 14 days quarantine for anybody who comes into contact with somebody with COVID. But I think what I heard on one of the news shows is it may only be 10 days for him now that he's got it. And if that's the case, it may actually not impact the debates as far as that goes. And that's one of the next topics we wanted to jump into. We had a debate a few days ago. Biden and Trump had their first debate, and it was it will be memorable.
No doubt about that. No doubt about that.
Yeah, but I wanted to go away some of the takeaways that you guys might have, missed opportunities. Quite frankly, one of the questions is, should there be more debates after that one? Some people are asking. So I'll let you guys, jump in on that.
Well, if I could just kind of clear the table first, I did not see the debates. In addition to not letting certain negativity come into my being, I also don't let things like those debates, which I heard had a higher viewership, which just shocked me, than the Super Bowl. It was just the number. It broke a record with viewership. I mean, everybody slows down for a car wreck, when they go by. And
this was a bit of a car wreck.
Yeah, that's what I heard it was. But aside from jumping on that bandwagon of, it was a excrement show and, it was a train wreck and blah, blah. I'm wondering, where was Jo Jorgensen, who would have been the only adult in the room? Where was she during these debates? I heard that she made the normal requirement based on what I don't know, some parameter. I can't remember what it was, but in the past, if you reach that level, then you should be on the debate floor. But maybe that's erroneous too. I'm not sure, but I certainly wish. Are they afraid of having an adult in the room? Yeah. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. And Leon having TVs or access to televised news and that kind of thing, which I don't, and very proud of it. I listen to enough 30-minute, 40-minute podcasts to get myself up to speed on what's going on in the world without having to listen to Tom Brokaw or whoever is out there. Tom's probably gone by now. I have no idea. I just don't. news is meant to strike fear in the hearts of Americans and keep them on edge and keep them looking for answers from the people that are giving them this dopamine, this anti-dopamine injection of fear and anyway. So Leon, what happened?
Hey, Tim, real quick, I hate to burst your bubble too, but Walter Cronkite's also been gone for a while.
Okay.
Yes. And Peter Jennings too.
Honestly, that is how long it's been since I've sat down and watched news. It's been years. It's probably over a decade now, and it's the only way I can keep some level of, as low as it may be, of sanity left in my brain here. It's just the only way. So anyway, but Leon's stronger than me, and he probably can withstand the onslaught of fear and negativity coming from the mainstream news and still come out as good as he is in mental
well, thank
health.
you for that. So let me remind you that I'm retired, okay? Because I not only did I watch the debate while it was happening, I did watch it a second time. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Just to be sure. Just to let you know how retired I am.
You're a glutton for punishment.
Yes, I guess. Well, Trump was in the debate. Trump was very aggressive. From the get-go, he was very, very aggressive, going after Joe Biden like you would not believe. Joe Biden was, heading off, throwing out insults, and Trump was throwing out insults. They went back and forth. Trump had some good zingers. Joe Biden had a few. There was a very low bar of expectations for Joe Biden because, on the campaign trail, it is obvious that Joe Biden is going senile. But during this debate, he sounded a little like, he had it all together. Honestly, I have to say that. I have to give him that. He sounded like he had it all together. But when I looked at it the second time, it didn't look as good as it did the first time. Now, most of the media, when I say it didn't look, I mean Joe Biden didn't look as good as he did the first time that I watched it. Most of the media is saying that this.
Well, I was just going to say, Leon, to be honest, he sounded relatively okay compared to what we thought from this other stuff.
Yes.
I was interrupting him so much that he never let him go long enough to find out if he was going to be coherent. Right?
Exactly. And this was one of the things that many Trump supporters have said, that when Trump, there are some times that Trump interrupted when he should not have. He should have let Joe Biden keep on speaking, and he would have probably have one of those senior moments that we have been seeing quite a lot of on the campaign trail. But the whole thing, though, the media, though, have been reporting that this thing was a horrible thing, a S show and blah, 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 and all this other things and that. And that may be so. But if you go on YouTube and look at the people who actually looked at the debate, there are about 6.4 million people actually looked at the debate. If you look at thumbs up versus thumbs down, it's like 10-1 thumbs up. People like the debate. I'm just, that's based upon YouTube. I know there's no science behind that, but I'm just saying based upon YouTube, thumbs up 10 times as much as thumbs down. So you have to take that with whatever grain of salt you want to take it with. But
I was expecting to hear the cries from the crowd, Jerry. Just in case you're not aware who that is, Tim, that's a Jerry Springer.
That's right. I mean, there's no doubt that was a memorable debate in terms of how it went through. Okay, and to be honest, I thought the moderator, Chris Wallace of Fox News, was biased. Okay, quite frankly, because he had some presumptions in there. Like, for instance, this critical race theory that we were speaking about. He spoke to Trump like if that is something that we should accept. If you listen to him, his question was based on the presumption that that is something that everybody should agree with. And there was another thing he said that was important. That obviously that because he's a Democrat, but he's not too bad a Democrat, but he's a Democrat. I know that. But he was biased, and I didn't like some of the questions, the way his questions that the way he was handling the questioning and moderating. Because at times I felt like Joe Biden was going to get into one of his senior moments, and Chris Wallace, I believe, actually bailed him out of it, and that's not the job of a moderator. So anyway, I thought it was a slugfest. Both of them went at each other. I mean, I don't know if I loved it, but it was an interesting experience.
In fairness, though, to Mike Wallace, I mean, I did feel like
Chris Wallace.
Chris Wallace. Yeah, I'm going back in time too.
Yeah. See, I sparked your memory back.
There you go.
Yeah, but in fairness to Chris Wallace, he was very difficult, keeping up with Trump, from almost the get-go. Trump had his opening statement, and it was quiet for his, and then Biden had his, and for the most part, he got through it, and then at the end of it, though, Trump started interjecting at the end, and it never stopped after that point. And
it's true. It's true.
Yeah, it was very much, really makes you wonder if Trump will rehash that. One of the things that's come out, as far as his strategy, if he's going to, pull back a little on that. But one of the things that came out of this as well is that the debate committee or whatever they are, they may alter the settings a little bit. So somebody now can mute the guy if he keeps interacting. I don't know how that's going to play for the next one, but
I don't think that is going to happen. Okay, because I don't think the Trump campaign is going to agree to that, to be honest. And both campaigns have to agree to any changes that they want to make, especially now. Both campaigns will have to agree to it. So I don't think the Trump campaign will agree to a mute button or some kind of stuff like that. And Trump already said, why would I agree to any changes when I won the first debate? That's what he said. So he think he won, so he don't want any changes to the format.
Yeah. Well, that one of the things too that strikes the whole thing, it was a bit of incivility. I mean, Trump, by interjecting as much as he did, and some of the things he said, to Biden were kind of disrespectful. But Biden flat out, some ad hominems, calling him a racist, I think at one point.
And a clown, a racist, a clown, and told him to shut up, man. Yeah.
Oh, shut up, man. That's kind of. The guy literally wouldn't shut up. So I kind of forgive him on that one. But
I think part of the libertarian viewpoint regarding this behavior on both their parties, both Trump and Biden, is this whole notion that this high level of power that has increased over the various years and presidents in the executive branch, where Congress has abrogated their responsibilities in many areas to the executive branch.
Yeah.
So it's not just the executive branch having taken power; it's been given power freely that belonged to the Congress. And so, libertarians look at the behavior, I think, or at least I do. And think to themselves, these are the type of people that are attracted to this unlimited power. It's this very type of people, the type of people that, that you really don't want to have that kind of power. And, it smacks of this whole collectivism and this whole centralization of power in minimal amount of people is wrong. It's never worked. It's always been issue, whether it's a monarchy or some kind of dictatorship or whatever. And it just even though we still have a semblance of a federalized republic and some semblance of a democracy too, within that framework, we're going slowly toward this centralization of power, and to me, is this debate, from what I've heard, I admit to not having seen it, even on YouTube, it smacks of this kind of how should I say, this bad situation of attracting the wrong kind of people, because there's just so much power now involved in the executive branch. Just
well, speaking of power, and pulling a little bit of a Trump interruptism here too as well. To move us along on one other topic we need to get to was, and a topic from the debate was, President Trump just nominated Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court. This is yet the third justice he will be appointing during his time if she's. And so that was one of the topics of the debate that went back and forth. And the issue of court packing came up as well, because the Democrats are not very happy that Amy Coney Barrett is the person being nominated, and the fact that it won't be, that they'll get to appoint at the next one. So, but anyways, I don't know if you guys had any thoughts on Amy or the Democrat threats to pack the court afterwards if she gets approved.
Well, there's a lot of hypocrisy. There's a lot of hypocrisy going on here. Okay, on both sides, quite frankly. Okay, Obama tried to put Merrick Garland on the court in 2016, and the Republicans objected because it was too close to the election. And now Trump is trying to do the same thing, and the Democrats are objecting because it's too close to the election. They both have changed side. I think though Trump made a very good point during the debate when he said, "Well, I'm not elected for 3 years. I'm elected for 4 years, and until that 4 years is expired." I mean, I'm not using his exact words. Until that 4 years is expired, I retain all the powers of the president. You see, the whole problem here that the Democrats have, and this is why they're going to try to pack the courts, is that even if Donald Trump loses this election, but gets Amy Barrett on that court, he will, assuming no unexpected deaths or anything like that, he will control the direction. At least he will set the direction of this country for the next 30 years, because it will solidify the conservatives on the court. That's what it was going to do. It will have 6 solid conservatives on the court, well, maybe 5.5, because John Roberts kind of wobbling these days. He seems to have a problem. I don't know what it is, but at least you're going to have 5 solid conservatives on the court. And if there are no unexpected deaths, it will set the direction for the next 30 years. The Democrats know this. They know this, and they don't want that. So that is why their whole thing now is, we're going to pack the court if you get in Amy Barrett. But Joe Biden now, Mr. Biden, he don't want to tell us if he support court packing or not. Oh no, that will be a distraction. Oh no, that will become the headline. Well, you trying to be president of the United States, bro. Tell us what you're going to do. We would like to know before we decide if we're going to vote for you or not. Well, I've already decided I ain't voting for you. But there are a lot of people out there would like to know what you'll do before we decide to vote for you or not. But he's trying to dodge the question. That will become the headline. Of course it will become the headline. We want it to become the headline. But that's a hypocrisy, it's hypocrisy. Politicians and hypocrisy, it's the same word. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I heard just about that idea of nominating in an election year for a Supreme Court justice. It's happened some 22 or 23 times where this opportunity has arisen over the history of the United States. I heard a podcast. I'm not sure if that's the right number, but it's been quite a few. And
it's in the 20s for sure. It's in 20s for sure.
Yeah, and every time the sitting president has nominated someone to be on the Supreme Court, they may not have made it there, but I think often enough they did. But every single time, including Obama and including Trump and including the next 750 presidents in the future, as far as the eye can see, every time there is a situation where they have the opportunity to nominate someone to the Supreme Court to fill a vacancy in an election year, they will do it every single time, if history is any guide at all. So with that in mind, Go right into
it. Maybe Trump should have one of these knucklehead noise patrol motorcycles out. We're getting near the end of the show, though, and one of the things that we like to do is bring up something crazy that somebody has said out there in public, and this is related specifically to the Amy Comey Barrett appointment. But after she was approved, she gave a nice acceptance speech out on the White House lawn, and America got to see her family. And so her family was, they have 7 kids, and 2 of them are adopted, and they're actually adopted from, is it the Dominican Republic? I'm not sure.
Haiti.
From Haiti.
Oh, from Haiti. Okay, from Haiti.
Wow.
Okay, and so these are our two black kids that they, I guess she had, they had adopted them after a natural disaster that occurred in that country. And so it's, it seems like that should be a thing that's, that people think is great. But apparently a noted anti-racist leader, self-described leader, Ibram X. Kendi, he's a director of the Center for Anti-Racist Research at Boston University. He said after hearing of her appointment, some white colonizers adopted black children. They civilized these savage children in the superior ways of white people while using them as props in their lifelong pictures of denial while cutting the biological parents of these children out of the picture of humanity. And whether this is Barrett or not is not the point. It is a belief too many white people have. If they adopt a child of color, then they can't be racist. And I mean, it's just, wow. You talk about cutting up somebody's life and by color and telling them they're racist or not. It seems to me she did a wonderful thing. And you're going to sit there and dice up, Hey, you guys have any thoughts on that real quick?
I think the Ku Klux Klan is very happy with these people, seriously. They're very happy that they are now preaching the preachings and the sayings and the tenets and everything else. The Bible of the Ku Klux Klan is now coming out of the lips of these people. This is their new gospel. This is a new kind of racism that they think that they are so superior. They can tell us who we should love and who we should not love. It's no longer about the color. It's no longer about the content of your character, which Martin Luther King told us to get to. It's all about the color of the skin. And this is what these people are. Nothing but modern day members of the Ku Klux Klan. That's all they are.
And what Leon said earlier about what is wrong is right and what is right is wrong,
yes,
is applicable, I think, because, in what other alternate universe do we complain about someone adopting children, and it doesn't matter if they're from Asian countries or from Haiti, or especially after after the hurricane, right, that they adopted these children.
No, I think it was after the earthquake. There was a massive earthquake. There's a massive earthquake. I think it was after the earthquake, I think.
Yeah. And I who knows? I don't pretend to know the exact circumstances under the adoption, why they were up for adoption or whatever, but it could be a myriad of reasons, including the fact that they were orphaned. I don't know. I don't know. But who but somebody in the Ku Klux Klan or of that mentality with that kind of racism in their thinking, where they think that they are being anti-racist. Everything's switched, and only those kind of people can complain about some family adopting children from a ravaged nation. Yeah. Not only ravaged by hurricanes, but ravaged by the Jones Act for the last.
Well, and I mean, that's the kind of craziness we're dealing with nowadays with people focusing on race exclusively. But that said, we're out of time. And thanks so much for joining us. And you can catch us at thelibertarianfacebook.com or libertariancounterpoint.com, or I think the Libertarian Express as well. So anyways, thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you.